To begin, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining myself and GreatSoft for my first webinar. We're quite excited to present you the GreatSoft Planner. I think it's going to be a very good addition to the GreatSoft family. It's been long coming, and everyone's quite excited about it. The guys that have got their hands on it and first seen it are all giving us very good feedback. So let's go through the slideshow. Just the agenda for today. Obviously a quick introduction for anyone that doesn't know me. We'll go over quickly what the housekeeping rules are. We'll touch on what GreatSoft Planner does, and we'll then do a live demonstration. And once we're done with that, we'll answer any questions that you guys might have during the webinar. And anything else, we're always available. Phone calls, emails, the works. Okay. All right. So for those of you that don't know me yet, Bradley Muller, Product Manager at GreatSoft. I started working at GreatSoft. I actually feel like I might have the year wrong here. I think it might have been 2007. It's been so long, I feel like part of the furniture. But it's been a good journey. It's been started off in the on-site consulting team. So that's where everyone might have known me from. Used to obviously do the training, implementations, all that kind of stuff. So back in the good old days of desktop software, you used to see me a lot on site. After that was very successful, did a whole bunch of projects, had a very good bunch of implementations, moved on to help development in a product manager role. So basically took over the managing or the future and the guidance of the products to obviously assist and give the client feedback directly to the developers. So I work very close with the development team, and yeah, we portray the image, the software and what the client would like. In other words, you guys. So I make that happen. And one thing for those that don't know me, I'm very passionate about data. I love things like reporting. I love getting the most out of the system. So I can't get enough of it. So you will see this coming out to light. Data, it's all about data. So once we've got data in GreatSoft, there is so much we can do about it and report on it. In my spare time, I like to consider myself a bit of a tinkerer and maker. Love fiddling. If anything can be taken apart, I'm the one taking it apart, putting it back together most of the time. And yeah, just generally, 3D printing, playing around with anything that's new in technology. So bit of a nerd geek in that sense, but keeps you on your toes and keeps your mind busy, eh? All right, so yeah, that's a little bit about me. We'll then talk about the housekeeping. So webinar is going to be recorded, so we can share this with you guys once it's done. And obviously anyone that was unable to attend due to work issues, we can always watch this at a later stage. We'll do questions at the end. So while we're doing the webinar, I'm going to go through it from a very high level and, obviously go through all the details of the planner and how it works with the GreatSoft system. And then at the end, we'll chat about any questions that you might have. All right. So if you do want any further in-depth discussions, you can always contact your GreatSoft account manager if you are a current GreatSoft client. If you're not a current GreatSoft client, you're welcome to reach out to us at info@greatsoft.co.za or possibly hit up our website, www.greatsoft.co.za, and we've got some more information on our website as well. All right, so what is GreatSoft Planner? All right, so we've had an old desktop software. Nobody wants desktop software these days. Everybody wants things in the cloud. So GreatSoft Planner is a web-based planner with budget integration into GreatSoft. Sorry, I see I jumped the gun. We just want to run a quick poll. So if you guys wouldn't mind just answering a few questions we've got up there, Lee will run that now for us as well. All right, so yeah, GreatSoft Planner. It is a web-based staff planner. So you do have access to multiple boards and workspaces. So we've tried to cater a little bit of everything. Everyone's business is slightly different. So we we kind of try to accommodate the accountants, the audit environment, the accounting environment, the taxation environment. So all of it can be brought back into GreatSoft Planner, and you can manage all your staff and your to-dos and your budgets directly from the planner. It integrates into the GreatSoft ecosystem, all right? So by that, it allows you to do easy capture of your timesheets. So once you've done your planning, you've created your few budgets, you can then go in and obviously book your time against that. So brings that tight integration back. It encourages their interaction. You want your staff to be, to be living the same picture that the company wants to run. So the more involvement we can get the staff in here, the better. So you'll see now it does make time capture quite a lot quicker. So there's a big benefit there for the staff member as well as the collaboration and communication. All right. There is reminders and alerts that we'll go over as well. So there's a couple of email reminders we can send out timely to your staff. Make sure that everyone's on the same page. Deadlines, managers will get their budget schedules, budget completions, how close we are to exceed those budgets, things like that. All right. That is the introduction to the planner. I think we've got another poll here, if you wouldn't mind running that one, just to keep you guys on your toes, make sure everyone's still awake and paying attention. Cool. I think after that, what we'll do is we're going to jump straight into a demo. All right. So we can see this in action. That just gives us the kind of the features and the highlights of the system. All right. Let me just get my demo site up on screen here. Cool. Okay, so just check out. Okay. All right, there's the demo site. Sorry, I just wasn't too sure if it was still sharing. It felt like it went off on my side, but all's good. Okay, so this is our GreatSoft demo site. I will be running through a quick demonstration on our demo site that our sales consultants also use to demo. So it will just give you sort of a brief insight how we can use the planning tool. We do have the access from our CRM dashboard into our planner. Okay, and that brings us to our planner landing page. So the first time you obviously access the planner, there won't be much information there. We'll obviously start capturing all this information for us. So the feature about the planner board that we're quite excited about is having your own set of workspaces, or in GreatSoft terminology, we also call them boards. So you can run boards specifically for the tax department. You can run your own personal board as a staff member if you want to do that as well. You can run firm-wide boards. So all of these boards, you can actually customize and decide how you want to allow your staff to interact with this. So we've got our demo board. I've created my own template board, and I've got my own personal workspace board. But if you want, you can go and create a new board there, and that gives you the ability to decide what you want to create. I'm just going to not add any more boards at this point. I just want to edit my current board. So I'm going to edit my workspace board. And what you'll see here is quite colorful. Everyone loves colors. Colors mean things to a lot of people. And instead of us telling you what the colors mean, we're now giving you the option to choose your colors. So for this board, you can choose what kind of colors you would like to display. And for that, you have your different project types that you'll be capturing on the board. So you're free to go use the little pretty color picker, and you can pick your colors as you wish. And you then can run multiple kind of projects on this board, and you can have different project statuses. and different job statuses. So we'll go through all of that in a moment, what all those statuses and types mean, but this gives you the nice ability to color code all of your budgets and your projects. We then also have the access to the board. So by default, this is my board at the moment. There is nobody else on this board. But if I did want to give certain officers access to the board, or certain service lines, or possibly certain staff levels, you can actually go through or just find staff. So I've got like, I think I called him Jim Jones. So I've got a few fictitious guys that will help me do this demo. And yeah, we can make them a certain level. So we got guest access, which means you can just come in and view the board only. So generally those are maybe just somebody that needs to be aware of the ongoing projects and just needs to monitor it. The contributors are your involved staff. So they will be the ones that will be coming in and attaching documents and possibly updating the statuses of these jobs that we'll get to in a moment. And then you've got full collaborators, so they will have full rights. So I'm just going to give Jim Jones some guest rights, and I've got Joe Black as well that's going to help me here as well, and we'll give him contributor rights. Okay, so now we've got a few more guys involved in our board. All right, so what does this board allow us to do? This allows us our own workspace to track our projects. So we're going to dive in with our very first project. Every board gets its list of ad hoc jobs. Okay, so we don't have any ad hoc jobs at the moment. So ad hoc jobs are just your jobs that aren't going to relate to any project kind of related work, but you would still like to keep track of them and possibly do some capturing and assign your staff to that. So you do have ad hoc capture on every single board as well. So for this guy, I'm going to create us a new project. So we're going to start our very first project, and we're going to do a project for the Miller Trust compliance. I think that might be a good example to go through. We're going to do the compliance work from Monday last week, and we'll finish it off next week, Friday. Okay, so we got our project dates that we're going to be running with this project. We then have those colors that we spoke about on the project board. We got things like the statuses. So what's the current status of this project? I've just got the very default generic kind of statuses, but you know, you can get quite colorful with these. You can be like, you know, this is provisional project. This is a to be scheduled project. So there's many different kind of statuses that you might want to run for your projects. You then have your different types of projects. So you might want to classify them as monthly work. You might want to classify them, you know, in my case, as documentation to be done, possibly follow-ups that I need to do, things like that. All right, so I'm just going to leave it on a default documentation. We then have the client for this project. So projects, which is quite nice, we'll go over in a moment in more details. There is a project client, but you can have multiple clients within a project. So sometimes a project might actually be doing an audit for a group of companies. So you might actually need to do multiple jobs or tasks across multiple clients. So you can actually still have that. However, we normally still keep the project client for references. So I'm going to use my client that I've kept over here, the Miller Family Trust at this point, and our tasks. So this is again, in GreatSoft terminology, our tasks is what we use for our WIP, and this is used for billing, it's used for timesheet capturing. So tasks in GreatSoft is very important, and this is the integration back into the GreatSoft ecosystem, so we can relate all our time data, all our billing data back to our projects. All right. So for this, we're just going to put tax work for 2017 in this case. We then have a project partner and a project manager. They default from the task. However, if you would like them to be different project partners and managers, you're also welcome to go and choose from the other staff within GreatSoft. All right, let's save that. So again, a step back maybe is the integration point again. So remember, if you are currently using GreatSoft, all your existing employee data, all your existing rates, everything that you've got existing in GreatSoft will pull through to the planner. So it's literally a quick startup if you do want to get going on GreatSoft Planner. There will be little to no setup required actually if you want to start using Planner. The only setup I would maybe just check is things like rates and all your tasks are set up right, so that obviously we can plan our future plans out or future projects out. Cool. So we've now got our project workspace here inside our board. And from here, we can now go and actually start allocating our jobs. So we're using the terminology. These are, each job will be allocated to a staff, and that will be an item of work that you might need to do on this budget. Cool. So from here, you'll see a default to the Miller Family Trust and tax work. We then choose what kind of work are we going to be doing. Okay, so this is a tax one. I see we don't have tax activities. I'm going to change this to actually accounting. Actually, I'm going to change the client completely. I just buried off the client I set up to do this demo on. So I'm going to pick this client rather. I know I've already set up accounting tasks. Okay, so we've got our client, we've got our accounting task, and now we can choose what kind of work we're doing. Okay, so let's just say we need to do financials for this accounting work. We also got a category, so we do categorize all of our activities. So this is categorized as core work. Again, this is based off all the GreatSoft data, so you might want to categorize your different activities, and I'll show you in a moment how that gives you a bit more power on your actual projects. All right, then we can either choose our level of staff. So if you know what kind of level staff you require, so let's just say I know I need an administrator on this project, you can select from the staff category administrator, and that will then give you a list of all the administrators in GreatSoft. So I know for a fact I'm one of the administrators, so I'm going to choose myself to plan. We then got the dates. So let's just say we're going to be doing something on Monday, and this is due today. It's going to already tell us it's 16 hours, but you're free to obviously change that to your own requirements. So we can go and move that to maybe 10 hours, and we can save that. All right, so we got a very first job on our project. So that will be a job for Bradley to do from Monday to Tuesday for 10 hours. He'll need to do the financials for that company. The setup of this is very, very quick. We try to make this as clear as possible and as easy as possible to capture all of these jobs. These jobs are what's going to be creating your budgets in the background. So we're going to be finding Bradley's charge out rates, and we will be creating the budget off of that as well. We'll see all that in action in a moment. But it's as simple as if Bradley needs to do something else other than financials, we can just come in here and, sorry, I just messed it up. Let's just go back to myself again. So if we need Bradley to do something else, we can just change from financials, and possibly he needs to do training. So we can then do training for Bradley, but this might not be the 12th. This might be training on the 14th. Okay. And we can then say I was there, and we can capture that. If there's more staff that are required, all you need to then do is actually select your new staff from here. So you don't need to recapture all of the details again for these budgets and jobs. So it is all remembered. So it makes it a lot easier and quicker to recapture. So let's just say we need Blake as well. We can see Blake's got a green dot. So Blake is available on the 14th. So directly from the screen here, I've named it ghost capturing. I feel like the rows kind of look like ghosts in the background. So we call them a ghost row to capture from. But once all your ghost rows are completed, you can actually then get the staff that are available during those timeframes. So we know Blake is available. Bradley we know is not available because I've just literally booked myself right now. So we're going to choose Blake, and we're also going to assign him to do training on that same day. All right. And through that, you pretty much go through and you create all your plans directly from here. So this is what we're calling the ghost row capture. If you do want more details, you can always come here to the little ellipses at the top on your project, and you can add a new job directly from here. That will open up the job screen, which gives us a little bit more access to information. If we need to capture a little bit more details than what we're doing directly from the ghost rows there. So here again, let's do something for Friday. Let's say for Friday, we want just 1 hour. And in this case, we're going to be doing, again, it's not for the family trust. I don't want it, I don't want for the trust work. I actually want for the secretarial work. All right. And we can then come here and let's just say we need to do some secretarial work on Friday. And from employee here, again, we got the same selections of all of our staff. they are grouped per department, so we can see the accounting department, the administration department levels, and we can go through there. Alternatively, what we do get access from this screen as well is what's called the availability map. So if for Friday we're not quite sure who is available, we can always come to the availability map, and now we get a bit more expanded view into all the staff's availability. So we know we're looking for the 16th, we're looking for somebody, and if we want to start like rolling that down per office, so maybe we want somebody in consulting. At this point now, we have only the staff in consulting, and we can actually see, all right, Lesedi is available. So let's choose Lesedi and assign Lesedi for the 16th. I see at this point, we haven't got a rate for Lesedi set up, so we don't have a rate value pulling through here. However, if you know that this work is gonna, we're budgeting 1,000 Rand, we can put in the 1,000 Rand budget here, all right? So it will look at your staff's rates and it will pull out their rates. In this scenario, I don't think we have a rate, so we can gain access to that information. However, there are jobs that aren't rate valued. You know, you might charge per item, and in that case, you can just put in the budget amount in that sense over there. Cool. The other stuff that we have available for the jobs is files. So you can attach files. And we also have a comment section, which we'll get into in a moment. So this is to drive the interaction of the staff. You can track each one of these jobs and attach documents, have a conversation, attach the emails, things like that that you might have with the client. All right. So once we save that, you'll notice we get the core work and we got standard secretarial work here. So those are these activity categories I spoke about. So if they are set up in your GreatSoft system, it does give you that extra benefit of another level of reporting. Okay, so I think that's the gist of the capturing. We'll go through maybe a little more examples in a moment as well. But directly from there, we can already see how our budget is starting up. So if I click on the project page, we'll get to a more expanded view. So you would have seen originally when I created the project, it was purely just the project details. Now that we've actually opened the project and started saving information, we do have some comments on the projects, and again, a file section for the projects as a whole. And we got a bit of reporting here at the top as well. So if you want to see what my breakdown is per employee, I can actually just group this by employee. I can see that there's chargeable time for Blake. He's got one job for 8 hours at a budget of 5,200. Bradley's got 2 jobs for a budget of 18 hours for 9,000 Rand. I've already got some actuals pulling through. So I must have already have done a timesheet to this. I think I did it actually when I was preparing yesterday. So I've already got actuals coming through on this job. But that's also a nice view to see that we've got some time pulling through. And if you want to send further levels, you can also then go through and say, okay, well, you know what, for every staff and activity, so who's doing what, you can then go and group that. So it's quite fun to play with, but you can group these on clients if you have multiple different clients. So I think in this case we had Bradley Muller and the Family Trust. So you can see each job per client on this project. You can see per activities, you can see per employee levels. So I've only chosen administrators, interesting enough. But if there was different staff levels, we would have the different levels of staff on here as well. So you can go ahead and play around with those. So let's just bring this back into something that's a bit normal. So we've got it at an employee level. And the last little tab here is we've got a couple of graphs just to kind of give you an idea of the budget hours, the actual hours, yeah, a few sort of not started in progress kind of flags on the jobs. So yeah, I just see somebody did post a question. I did want to keep them to the end, but I think it's actually not a bad question while we're busy in this area. With the allocation of staff, at this very moment, we have no restrictions on how many hours you can book a staff. So if we've only booked Lesedi for 1 hour here, we've obviously got the remaining 7 hours of the day. However, if you book 10 hours or 15 hours, the system is not going to stop you at this point. We would like to bring in some flags. I'll show you as well in a moment where there's some ways that we can actually go through and view our staff and where they're at and maybe who's overplanned and things like that. So at this point, we don't have a restriction on that. And the idea was, instead of locking the system down from the start, you'll notice there is a lot of openness around the system. So without tying everyone's hands initially and making it difficult to use, we want it to be a bit more freedom. But in saying that, we do want to start bringing in some validation to at least give you a bit more restrictions. So at this point, the only feedback you're going to get is red dots to show you the staff that are not available, and the availability map as well. You'll be able to see that those staff obviously are block booked on those days that you want to allocate. All right. Yes, so that is the availability of the staff at the moment and the capturing of the jobs. So if you want to do things like training as well, there's overheads that you might need to plan for, you know, staff taking annual leave, sick leave, obviously not the easy one to budget for, but there's ways around that. But things like training, skill enhancement, things like that, you might still want to track. There's two ways you can do this. Well, there's actually quite a couple of ways that you can do it. You can actually create a specific board for this. So the board will then make available, you can have maybe like a training board where you might want to schedule all your different training programs and allocate your staff accordingly. I'm not going to go through all of that right now. I'm just literally going to say here for an ad hoc job, I'm going to do some, I think I've got a training one here. Yes, we do. Okay. So if we're going to do some training, we might want to send, let's think maybe we're doing training on the 20th. So the 20th, we're going to do 8 hours training, and we then can assign our staff. So let's put Blake on training for the 20th, and we can save that. Okay. We might then also want to go and put Kathy on training, and who else can we put on training? Let's put Gladwin on training as well. So there we've allocated 3 staff to training on the 20th of October at basically 3 clicks of a button, actually 6, because I have to select the staff as well. So this is what I call the power of the ghost rows. So you can actually capture things nice and easily. What we even like doing is you might want to create a project, and the project could be something like December annual leave. So when you have your December shutdown, you can actually run, instead of running spreadsheets, I know internally we do spreadsheets, that's going to now change. We can actually just come and add your leave to the leave board, and everyone can actually see who's available and who's not available for the leave. All right, so yeah, that's the overheads. You can, I use training as an example. There's no reason why you might not want to do this for leave as well. So we do know staff take the leave. Hopefully they give you a bit of notice in advance. So you can then go and allocate the staff for leave, and they'll then be obviously not available during those times. Okay, so once we've got all of this set up now, okay, so we've got our projects in our workspace. We've then got a few different views around this project. So this is what we deem the list view. So the list view at this point is purely, I would call it the main working points. I'll show you the other views. We can work from them, but this gives you the most information to decide and to work from. We've also then got the grids, so that the grid views are quite powerful as well. So this gives us pretty much what we call cards in the tech world. So for the cards, this is pretty much, we've got no filters on at the moment. So this is all the available job cards that we have on the go. So there's a bit of details here in terms of the activity, the staff, the time, everything like that. If you do click on it, you will get access to the job. And from here, you can post comments and drop files and things like that as well. So if for the training, we just want to say what material do I need to bring? Okay, you can post your comments up here, and you can converse on these jobs that you need to. Alternatively, you might want to change things like statuses or drop files. Maybe there's a training question there. All of those kind of things you can then attach to this job as well. So this is the cards. We've also then got the projects. So as you create your projects, in this case, we've got the trust compliance project. We know it's got 4 jobs. It's not started at the moment. Who's the part of the manager currently on those? Okay. All right. Sorry, I just see Lee asked if we can just put the questions, any questions you guys got, just post them in the Q&A section, not in the chat. It's just a lot easier for us to track the questions from the Q&A section rather, so that we can make sure we answer them once we get to them. Okay. All right, so these are the projects, and then you've got the same view in terms of employees. So as you start planning out your staff, each employee will get their own card, just with a bit of view on their current job, so you can see everyone's workload at the moment. Yeah, so those are the kind of card views that we have. We've also got the board view. So the staff, if you want your staff engagement, I believe this would be probably the most used board. It's also known as a Gantt, sorry, not a Gantt, as a Kanban view or Kanban chart or Kanban. I think it's just Kanban. Anyway. And this allows you to easily drag and drop your lanes, so your different statuses. So these are assigned to myself, and if I want to now put this in progress, I can very well just drag my jobs around here as I need to. Again, I'm full collaborator, or technically I'm actually the owner of this board. If I was just a guest, I wouldn't be able to interact in this manner. I would purely be able to view. And the collaborators are the guys that can actually come in and assign the jobs over and move them around and attach documents. So for the staff engagement, you would really want your staff to be at the collaborator level. Okay, so these statuses, they all come from my setup workspace. So you'll see here these job statuses. I've got not started, in progress, completed. That gives me these 3 lanes over here for my project state, my job statuses, sorry. So if you need more statuses, you can add more, you can choose your own colors, and that will give you more lanes to possibly classify all your jobs on the go and manage them. All right, so that's your board view. We then got the Gantt views. So we've got the Gantt by projects. So at the moment, we can see all my ongoing projects. In this case, I only really have the one at the moment, and I've got a few of the ad hoc ones existing down here for training. So we got the compliance project running with the financials, and we got these guys over here. Again, if you click on these jobs, you will then get access to more details of the job, so you can still interact with this board. We are busy at the moment with more controls, things like zooming in, drag and drop, all of those kind of good stuff. It's something I did want to keep talk about, but I just mentioned it right now, so I'll carry on with it. The progression of Planner, we work in quite a lot enhancements along it. It is a very new project for us, and you will see there's a lot of excitement around it, a lot of new features coming, a lot of new features planned. So yeah, for those that have seen Planner already, you will notice it is progressing at quite a fast rate, and yeah, we're enhancing it pretty much every release coming out. So we'll have a lot more good things to come as well. All right, so that is our project Gantt views. And lastly, the view that we have is our employee Gantt view. So this is more from a staff management level. So again, if you want to go through and let's just say we want to look at our administrators, because I know we did a couple of planning for administrators. So if we look at administrators, we've got the current jobs on the time frame. So if you want to go look for availability as an example, so let's just go next week. And here we've got the availability for next week. So from there, you can actually come through and see, you know, who's currently planned between the 18th and the 24th and who's still available. If you do want to go see where these staff planned, you can still expand on this. So you can come in and actually see where everyone is booked at. And again, if you want to click on them, you will get access to the jobs as well. All right, so that really is a whole bunch of the views that we have within the planner. I kind of skipped over this in the beginning, but the layouts as well, you do have a light theme. So depending on your personal preference as well, if you prefer things brighter, we do have the light mode. If you prefer things a little bit darker, you do have the dark mode as well. So personal preference, whatever you would prefer. You know, everyone's got their own preference on these kind of things. So at the moment, the planner board has got the dark mode. Number one question is, does the rest of GreatSoft have dark mode? So not yet is maybe the answer, but we'll see about all those kind of things. So Planner does have a dark mode there. You do also have a bit of option to set your default boards. So for instance, if you want the demo board as your default, you can always go to the demo board and set that as your default, but you can choose which is your defaulted board. And the other very powerful thing is, like I said, the staff might really enjoy the Kanban view. So what I can do is I can actually set this as my default view. And what that means that when I leave the planner and when I come back to it, by using the menus here, I'll be redirected back to my Kanban view. All right, so if you're not a fan of the list view or whichever view you feel more comfortable in, you're more than welcome to go and set that as your own default view. We've also got a couple of ordering. So do you want to order by the due date, the start date, when things were outdated, staff or activity? So you've got a couple of sorting options in how you actually want to see this data ordered on the screen. And then we've got access to filters. Okay, so there's quite a lot of filters, but they're very beautiful. What they do allow you to do is, again, to remember your filters. So if I'm only looking for my jobs, I'll only filter out Bradley. So those are my 2 jobs. And again, the beauty about this is now when I leave the Kanban board and I come back to it, these filters are remembered. All right. So immediately when I access the planner, it's already remembered that I'm looking for Bradley and these are my jobs. All right. Again, this is for, you might have managers that come in and plan the staff. So from a manager level, you might want some other kind of filters to a staff. From an employee level, you might want your own staff filters. But there's a whole array. If you work in different offices, work for different partners, you can combine, so you can add on employee and client filters. So you can actually combine all these filters up. And again, you've got your date filters if you're looking for things like due this week, next week, to-dos kind of board, you know, what must I do before the end of the week? You've got those kind of things as well. All right, so yes, that is, let me think about if I missed anything. The other buttons we got on the left here is things like completed. So as your staff go and move these things over to completed, they naturally fall off the completed board. So if you don't want to see them, you can turn the eye off so that you don't have to see the completed guys. If you would like to see them, you can also obviously activate them if you want to, you know, keep track of who's doing what and, you know, the project complete. With the projects going through completion as well, if I come back to the list view over here, I'll just drop off a couple of my filters so we've got access to the information again. Each project can also be archived. So we do have the archive for the projects. So once you are done with them, you can archive them. That will remove them completely from the planner. However, if you do want to see them, you've got the option here to show the archived projects. Sorry, keeps disappearing there on me. All right. So last thing I want to touch on before we go and answer a couple of the questions, I see there are a few of them, is obviously the what's in it for me. Why do we want to go through all these projects and do all these planning? One of the key benefits I just mentioned early on was the time capturing. So if I go back to my time and expense application, okay, so we've assigned, this is me, yes, this is me. So I've got a job here on the 12th to the 13th. I can then switch over to my timesheet. I have got a timesheet open here already. So this is one of my timesheets. So if I go into my timesheet, you will notice, once it loads up here quickly, with my timesheet, I've got my pre-existing time that I've already captured, as well as now we've got this additional planned chargeable time. So any planned chargeable or planned non-chargeable time will appear directly on your timesheet for the staff that you have planned. And the beauty about this now is we can actually see I should be doing accounting and financials from the 12th to the 13th for 10 hours. And what I can then do is, instead of having to go and say, you know what, for this client, for this project, do my normal timesheet, you can actually just click here and it will pre-populate the information. I can say completed client work. You can go and put in your full narration, whatever you might have done, and I can just say that took me 2 hours so far. All right, and that then is pretty much a timesheet at a click of a button. So it's now accurate. You know, we don't have this case where we go through and we capture on the wrong client, or you know, we were doing a group kind of audit and they booked time to the wrong group of companies, things like that, you know, normal human errors when it comes to capturing timesheets. So right now you can just actually click on the day, pre-populate your information, put in your hours and save that, and we've got a timesheet completed for that time. All right, once we've done that, if we come back to the projects page, we will notice if I go to projects and I go here to my little graphs and we go here, you can actually now see my 8 hours have been captured. So my 2 timesheets that are completed is already offsetting against my budget. So immediately we've got this kind of real-time feedback on our budgeting, and we can get that information quickly to the users. Okay, so we are looking at the in progress, or what we call in the pending time, to determine our budgets. This will get posted through to your work in progress and ultimately hit all your work controls and your reporting as well. So yeah, that's straight away into the planner. That gives us real-time budgets for this. There is some budgeting reports while we're talking about reporting. So I'm not going to run them now. They can take a little bit of time, and with the webinar, I don't want to waste time here waiting for the reports to load up. So I ran this off screen a bit earlier, but in this case, we then got our clients, our tasks, and our staff that are currently working on these tasks with the budget actuals and the variances. All right, so it is integrated into your WIP, and there are some nice reports as well. There's some planner reports as well from a project status point of view, and pretty much we can actually use this if you've got your own kind of budgeting requirements. We can also integrate into that and pretty much populate any of your other custom reports that you might be running for budgeting as well. So that is the reporting from the time side. What I also want to touch on with the timekeeping side of things, I think it's something that not everyone's fully aware of. We do have a timesheet widget. So on the top of your dashboard, you've got this timer. From here, you then have access to a plan tab. So here we can actually see on the 13th, I've been planned to do the financials. On the 14th, I've been planned for training. The 22nd, I think, was the other staff that I planned, so I don't have access there. So through the calendar here, we've actually already got access to our plan guys, and directly from the save here, we can do the same thing where we've immediately pre-populated the timesheet for capture. You can do the exact thing from planned over here as well. While we're touching out of this, a little bit out of scope of planning, but for those that are unaware, we've also got timers. So if you do want to run your own timer here, you can actually start your timer and run timers here. Very nice for when you do things like this. So we can actually, I should have started this at the beginning of it to track our meeting time. All right, so that's the widget. You've got access to capture your time from the widget as well through your plan. And lastly, for timekeeping, if you go through to your profile, it's another product that we've got out there, which not many are making use of at the moment. We've got this profile option here that says enable calendar style timesheets. And if I save that to yes, okay, so I'm going to change that to yes. I'm going to save that profile settings, and I'm going to go back to my time and expenses. You'll notice now when I go into this timesheet, things are slightly different. Okay, so we've got a more, we call it calendar style timesheets, but it is pretty much like you used to in Outlook. It's very much the Outlook calendar feel. And with this, you've actually got then access to your plan time on the left here. So again, with your plan time, if I want to actually put some time to this, so here we've got 7 hours. If I want to put in the remaining 3, I can just say add, and we get some errors. That's a little bit bad. So unfortunately, I can't show you that. However, when we add directly from our plan, the same story, we can pre-populate our timekeeping so that we can immediately not have to capture all the mundane details. So apologies, I'm not too sure why. Again, this demo, some weird things happen on this demo site. But what that would have done, okay, it seems like nothing's happy here. So I should have prepared a bit better going through to the calendar style. let's just close that and go back in. Maybe it's just something else. Let's see. If not, I won't spend too much time on it. If you do want more information on the, okay, so there we go. It's, something must have just caused some weird things to happen there. So calendar style gives you a little bit more interaction into the times, the client's activities, the hours, your usual timesheet capturing from a GreatSoft perspective. Only difference now is we're adding in the time aspect. So you can actually say that this was from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock as an example, doing admin, whatever work it was. You can actually go and add that to a more calendar kind of view. Okay, so you can see the times as well. So that's quite a nice addition. And like I say, that also brings through the plan information from Planner. Okay, so that's the whole gist of why we're doing all of this. That then, like I say, will populate your budgets. And from the value perspective, this will mean you can keep more accurate, quicker budgeting. I see, sorry, I just glanced off one on the Q&A items was notifications. We have got quite a lot of different notifications we can set up. I've got 1 or 2 prepared. Again, it is on a demo system, so they're not set up by default. Otherwise, while our sales guys are doing their demos, we would be getting mails left, right, and center to our staff. So it is disabled on our demo site. But as an example, I did prepare 1 or 2 kind of emails that will happen. So as an example, I've got a new job assigned to Bradley. This was, for us, was internal for development, for project planning, and we need to add a new feature today. So we've got to get on this. But in this case, we do have some notifications out to the staff to tell them of their jobs as they get allocated. So that is available. We then also got notifications. So for instance, the overdue jobs. So if we are tracking it closely, you might want to check that all of these jobs are being completed. So here we can see this is in progress. It was due already in June, and that belongs to the demo board. So you can actually go through and see all that directly from there. So if you want to access it, you can then click on the link to take you back to the dashboard. So we've got things like, you know, the common ones. You know, I've sent you a new job. There's things overdue that you haven't done. We've got some alerts for budget statuses. Unfortunately, I didn't prepare. That would have been actually quite a nice one to look at. But we got emails for like percentages. So if you've hit now 50% of budget, we can email the managers, the partners, things like that to say, you know, you're now sitting at 50% of budget, those kind of allocations as well. So yeah, from an email perspective, we've got a lot of that going through. From a calendar perspective, we are currently investigating a possible solution to automatically sync in this with your Outlook calendars. At the moment, it will only be Outlook. It's not Gmail. Gmail, you'll have to possibly add in the meeting link, but we have got a possible solution for automatic calendar population directly from Planner. So this can go straight into your staff's calendars. So not live yet. Like I say, we're still researching and finalizing that, but very, very possible Outlook at the moment. So that kind of integration is also coming soon from a calendar perspective. Let me think what else I didn't touch on. So we spoke about the multiple boards. Oh, other things that we want to do a bit better as well. So at the moment, we've got a bit of templating. So you could imagine if you do the same work over and over again, you might want to set up something like a little small project template or big project template, things like that. So what we've done at the interim is you can create these projects, fill in all the required jobs and work that's needed for this project. And when you're ready to use it, you can go here to these ellipses and you can actually duplicate the project. So when we duplicate it, you would now pick your client. So let me pick one of my clients again that I've set up. We can then pick the task that this would be for. And from there, we can actually go through again, pick our partner managers, things that we want to do. but this will go through and copy the exact template to our client. There's a few options that you want, which task and things that you do want. So if you would prefer to pick it from this list, you've got a few options to rather select from the project or select from the actual jobs. So in this case, I'm just going to, actually I want to select from the job in this case, and I want to keep the current employees. And we're going to call this new job from template. All right. And we've actually created a whole project from our template. All right, pre-filled with all the information that we already had down here. So then you can just pretty much go and fill in the blanks, assign the staff that's required, and go from there. And what's also quite nice about this is you can move these between boards and workspaces. So if I don't want it in this board, I can actually just go here and move my job to my actual workspace. All right, so I've just moved it there from our project board. And off we go, and if I switch over to my other workspace, we've now actually got my new job for my template here. Another concept I forgot to touch on early on, which is very, very nice, is not everything is compulsory. So it opens us quite a bit of flexibility. But by that, you might want to be doing something like, you might need to do management accounts or something like that, but you don't know who's going to actually be doing this yet. But what you do know is you want a partner that needs to be doing this, or possibly a manager. Okay, so you need a manager to be doing this work, and you know it will need to be done by the 30th. Okay, and let's just say it's for 8 hours. And it's very possible then to actually go and save that. So you've still got this project or this job that's due for the 30th. However, at this point, we don't have the staff that will be doing it. So this allows you to plan months in advance. You can actually then go and create all of your projects, your budgets. You'll notice it has already allocated me a manager rate. Our manager rates at the moment is 500, I think a little bit low, but we've got the 500 manager rate. So we've already got a budget around this. We've already got the hours around this. We just don't have who's going to be doing this yet. But the nice part is when I come back into here, I can just come to my availability map, and immediately these are my list of available managers. I think we're going to get Rona to do this. So I can just assign Rona the work when we're actually ready. All right. So that gives you the ability to sort of pre-plan your budgets, pre-plan your projects, and get all your planning done at a high level. So you can actually really even come at a higher level than that. If you don't even know what kind of work you might be doing, you can just literally plan a manager to accounting. Okay, and in that case, we don't, we need a description now. Work item 1, whatever it might be. But at that level, we don't even know what kind of activities we're going to be doing. We just know we need a manager for 8 hours on accounting 19. So it does open up quite a lot of possibilities for this. I'm always a bigger fan of going the extra mile to get all the details in. However, you know, not every business works the same. So this does open up those possibilities to do that kind of planning as well. All right. Last little formalities that I want to touch on before we'll head over to a couple of the questions is things like the attachments. So if I actually go in and let me just find a file off screen over here. Just looking for something that I can attach quickly. Let's just look at, here's doc 1. Okay, so if I just drag doc 1 on here, it will go in and upload doc 1 here to my job. And when I actually come into things like my project, I've got access to my documents here as well. Right. So again, collaboration. We do want to obviously get more interaction into the planner and get your staff but you know, the more interaction I believe that your staff have, the better accurate information you'll get as well out of the system. All right. Let me think if there was anything I missed out on. I rambled on quite quickly, got excited. So I think I covered pretty much everything. Okay, so that is where we are at. I think I'm going to go through the questions now that the guys posted. So if you've got a couple more, keep posting them. I think we'll go through them now. Lee, I think we set up, did we have a poll? I can't remember. What we're going to do. Oh, that's a survey at the end. My bad. All right, so let's look at the questions that we've got here. Who has the right to change the status of the job? Is it only the owner or the managers? Okay, so in terms of security rights, this was the reason in each workspace. So each workspace has its own set of user rights. So here on the left-hand side, we can see for this workspace, we can come through and see who has guest access. So at this point, Jim Jones only has guest. Guest means they won't be able to alter anything. The access that you would need would be contributor. Contributors can come in and change statuses of a job. And the staff, or sorry, the managers, you might want to put at something like a collaborator level. Collaborator level will mean they can create new projects, they can move dates around, things like that. So that is the current security model. If we need to expand on it, we always, we are open for requests. So this is one nice thing about GreatSoft. So, if there's features that you think we're lacking as well and you use in the product, you're always more than welcome to reach out to our support staff, our consultants, and just say, can I do this? And we're always very, very willing to assist. So it might have to be kind of a development request, which will go through our normal procedures and will make its way into the software. But there's also a lot of consulting kind of requests that we can do. So you might want to say, can't I get an alert when I don't know, Johnny logs into the system, whatever. Our consultants are always more than willing to take up the challenges and set up these kind of alerting. So we're always open to these. Right, so the standard working hours, can you plot 10 hours and will the system automatically calculate overtime? Unfortunately, we don't automatically calculate overtime rates. However, from the GreatSoft system, if I do a new timesheet capturing over here quickly, when I do my capturing of time, you do have the ability to have different rates. Unfortunately, this current staff only has a standard rate. You can set up overtime rates. The only difference is at this point, the user needs to decide, is this an overtime rate or is this billed at a standard rate? The system's not going to decide that for you. All right. So you can have different kind of rates. It's just the user needs to decide at the point of capture what that rate is going to be charged out at. All right. The multiple jobs covering same days in terms of availability. So as I mentioned initially, unfortunately, or not unfortunately, at this point it is open. So where I've already booked Rona on the 30th, there's nothing stopping me from doing a new job now and again going to the 30th and selecting Rona again now. So if I go here to Rona, you'll notice the only thing that it's going to tell me is she's red. In other words, she's already been booked for that day. At this point, it's not giving you any feedback on the available hours. So we still want to work on how we can bring back, if she's only booked 1 hour, that she's still got 7 hours available. And alternatively as well, that when I select her to give you a bit of feedback or possibly a restriction to say, you cannot use Rona, she's already been booked for that day completely. So it is something we do want to still tackle. So it's not that it's never going to happen. It's just at this very moment, with the complexity of all the planning and the jobs and the multiple boards and all of this, we do need to find an elegant way to do it without tying anyone's hands just yet. Having said that though, we can send out, I think that the clients that are using our old planner, old desktop planner that never really hit the market very hard, we do have email alerts that go out to partners and managers to say, you know what, these are the staff that are available for the week. They sit in idle. So we'll send you an email so that they sit in idle. And the flip side of that as well, anyone that has been booked for too much time, we can immediately send a mail out to say, you know what, guys, so-and-so is already overbooked. You might want to consider using another staff member. All right. So at this point, we do want to accommodate that better. But at this point, it is email correspondence that will need to happen to give you the feedback for that. All right. So yes, the other question here about can we rather use a budget amount? So again, here I didn't get a rate coming through. I think it didn't get a rate coming through. Let's pick another staff member. Okay, so there's a rate coming through. So because we got 8 hours at 500 Rand for the rate, it pre-calculates our budget at 4,000 Rand. You're very welcome to go and actually say, you know what, we charge 10,000 for this. And you can override the budget for 10,000. That then gives you the ability to rather have your own set budget amounts. It's really related for those more itemized kind of ad hoc kind of jobs. Ideally, you would like to have it that the hours correspond to the rates of your staff, but we all know with budgets that's not always the case, so we do have the ability to override our budget there if you would like to do that as well. All right, import information. I'm glad that was brought up. Okay, so again, at this point in time, we can't import directly from the UI. We do have very capable consultants. Our consultants can assist with imports. It unfortunately doesn't mean that you can run an import every single day. We do want to bring the import functionality in. We've already spoken about it with the development team, so it is quite high up on our roadmap for items to bring in. Because generally what happens is you got maybe some kind of sheet that gets filled in by a staff or by a manager or partner, something like that, goes through its own little process, and you want to bring that into GreatSoft. So we do have some ideas to bring this in. We definitely want to bring in Excel's imports. Again, because it's a bit more flexible in terms of all kind of data that can come in, it needs to be a bit more interactive. So we are going to develop a bit more interactive importer where you can bring the data in, sanitize it a bit better, and then create your projects and your jobs directly from those Excel imports. So yes, definitely on our roadmap for imports. All right, sorry, another question. Do you have available hours reports for utilizing hours and projected income? I don't have anything to show at this point. So the guys that I don't have to show, I'll talk you through them. So with GreatSoft, those of you or those clients of ours that have ever requested custom reports, again, I do a lot of praise for our consultants. We can, with it being our own data, and our guys know our data very well. And again, I'm passionate about data. Reporting is just getting the information out. So we've put all the information in. For each staff member, we know the required amount of hours, we know the amount of working hours in a month, we know the budgets, we know the worked. So forecasting is something we haven't done yet, but interesting enough, it actually was one of my exciting reports I did want to tackle for forecasting and future planning. Because with this information going in, I think you can pull a very nice picture of forecasts in the future. So right now, no. But with the amount of excitement this planner brings us with forecasting, I think we might see that quite soon. If you can't handle or can't wait soon enough, like I say, you're always welcome to contact account manager and get one of our consultants to write something for you. The added sort of advantage about going that route as well is you get exactly what you want as well. So obviously when our development team writes reports, we try and make them generic so that obviously all our clients can use them. But if you have your own custom report, you can get your exact percentages and KPIs that you would like in terms of custom reporting. All right. What's the next one? Sorry, I just jumped around. Would plan chargeable disappear from timesheets once its status is changed to completed? All right. At this point, it's not dropping from your timesheets if they are completed. That is something actually quite interesting. We've never really thought about that. I'll actually add that as a note to investigate that. So if I go back to the old one as an example, actually, too late now, but we could have used that one. So I guess once you've done the job, the tricky part about dropping them off of your timesheet once the job is completed, it's that chicken and the egg story. Did you capture your timesheet before you completed the job? If you haven't, you're going to lose access to the job. But I believe what we should be doing is possibly just show a completion over here, which we don't show at the moment. So I think what might be very beneficial is to maybe show which of these jobs are already completed. So at this point, we're only really showing you've done 7 of the 10 hours. The completion might also be another key indicator to show on here. However, dropping it off, I think might land us with a challenge of not being able to book the time if you get the ordering wrong. All right. Tabor, for the budget imports, we'll have to chat offline about that one. So yes, you guys already have your own custom sort of importer guy into our old desktop planner. We can definitely look at migrating that over to the web planner version and see how we can carry on with that process. So yeah, chat to me after this. I think it's definitely something we can look at. All right, is the data live? Yes, the data is definitely live. So once we add our information here, your budgets will update immediately. So this information here, as well as the reports, again, I just don't want to run the reports, they do take a bit of time, but all this actual information here is coming live directly from the timesheets. All right, so that will be up to date. We specifically did it, again, in the past, we more looked at approved time, which gave you this weird scenario where you had to wait like a whole week to know whether you're still in budget. So the quicker we can know we're going to fall out of budget, obviously the better. So yes, we are looking at the live timesheets now. All right, recurring planning, that is another big item for our roadmap. We do want to start recurring the jobs. So things like, tax. We recur tax every month, not every month, that would be madness, but we would, once a year have our tax returns that we could easily pull into the planner. We got things like your bi-monthly VAT return submissions, monthly accounting, yearly accounting, quarterly accounting. We do have quite a lot of possibility for recurring. So we do want to tackle this. So it is a feature for our roadmap. Like I say, at the moment, you can duplicate projects, which can allow you to keep on going. So if I've done a project 1 month for accounting as an example, or for an audit, for the next year, you can just duplicate that same project and just refill in the staff and things like that. So at this point, you are more than welcome to duplicate projects to get this recurring feel, but it's not a long-term solution. We do rather want more templatized kind of projects to occur. All right, new tasks be synced with CRM. Okay, so the data that we are using is the same data from your GreatSoft system. So as you add on your new clients, they will be available in Planner. The other guy that I didn't touch on, which is actually quite an important one, I knew I was going to miss something. When you're planning as well, and you're planning for especially things like auditing and that kind of stuff, when you want to add this new job and you've selected your client to audit, the task for audit might not exist yet. So what you will notice in this list of tasks, you've got your client tasks, and if we actually scroll down, we've got your list of standard tasks. All right, so client tasks are the tasks that are currently open for the client, and your standard tasks are basically templates, okay? So for those guys that are using our standard tasks, they allow you to open up your new tasks for your clients without having to recapture the service lines and all the details, that kind of stuff. But what this does mean is we then can come in here and we can actually bring up future years. So as an example, Consulting 2020 is not yet open, but I can still go and actually plan my jobs for Consulting 2020. This then means that once the actual Consulting 2020 task is open on the client, and the reason for this delay is you might have like user-defined fields, you might have to first consult with your system administrator to open the jobs, things like that, or open the tasks. So in that interim, you can always book or plan to these standard tasks. All right, job schedules, rollover. That's an interesting one. So like I say, at this point, we can duplicate. In terms of dates, you might still have to go and alter the dates. So once you've duplicated it, so when I did the duplication here, you'll notice I can pick my project once it wakes up. There we go. Okay, so when I do my duplication, here I can choose my project dates. All right, so these are my project dates for my new duplicate project. So they will roll forward through those dates. However, it's not perfect because weekends, public holidays, all of those good things come in between. That is why I say we are busy working on the Gantt view. So what will happen is when you get to the Gantt view and you've already done your project, you can actually just come here and drag and drop and move to the correct dates that you want to. So we're going to have a solution for this very soon. But after you've done the duplication, it'll be a lot easier to actually just drag and drop these dates to where they are required. Instead, at this point, you'll have to pretty much adjust your start and your due dates here. So we will still look into that into a bit more detail. Again, once we get to this recurring scenario, we do want to start looking further into these date things. They always do pose an interesting challenge. All right, Psycha hours. Interesting. I don't think we actually have a standard Psycha report. I think we've consultants have written this so many times for our individual clients. We actually do just need to jump the gun and throw a Psycha report in. So there's many different versions of Psycha reports at many of our clients, but it is a very easy report for us to bring out. So we definitely can do a Psycha report. So just yeah, send me a message after this, contact me. We'll make a plan to sort out Psycha reporting if you are backing with that from GreatSoft at the moment. I'll look at something from a standard perspective. From a standard perspective in GreatSoft, we do have a lot of reports, okay? I almost want to say we got too many reports, but something like a employee total time or employee time by clients or something like that, it will definitely put you in the right direction to get to your Psycha hours. But the classification for core hours and those kind of things, you might not get exactly on this report. So that's why I say there's a few custom reports where many different firms have different classifications of the core hours to the GreatSoft system. So we do have a slight variance in what we classify core hours, support hours, things like that. So just hit us up. We can possibly use one of these reports. Alternatively, they are quite easy reports for us to write to get those Psycha hours out. And then what this actually opens up for, I'm not too sure if that client's on this call, but there was a client of mine that actually already added the planned hours to their Psycha reporting, which I've never thought of in the beginning, but it's actually really beautiful, is you can actually plan whether that staff is going to reach their required Psycha hours. So it's maybe just not a challenge every client has brought to my attention, but you know, obviously once you've done your timesheet hours, it's a little bit late, but if you've got these plans, you can already kind of forecast, are we going to meet the required Psycha hours? So definitely opens that possibility. All right, so clashes for plotted hours on the same period. Unfortunately, not a report at this point. I am busy working on it. So hopefully by the time you've got Planner, we'll definitely have that report for those hours, plotted hours. So again, the data, we do have the data in the system to determine whether you are clashing hours. So we'll definitely get a report to bring that out. All right. Is there a cat for industry? So category for industry. That's an interesting question. At this point, what we do have available is all of our clients. There's a few ways we can go about this. So under the clients, we do classify them into an industry or a business category. We can either use that. Again, this kind of depends on your data. but we have got this category. Unfortunately, in this case, it's not populated, but we can normally populate that with the SARS categories. And if you're already using this category for something else, we then also have the ability to go to user-defined fields, and we can set up more kind of urban categories or industries or things like that. So we got quite a lot of possibility for category reporting and for those that kind of report. So definitely possible. You might also want to maybe add on user-defined fields to your employees as well, which would mean you'll be able to also see from which employees the skill levels and where they plan and things like that. So we also got that same possibility from the employee perspective. All right, last question. Wow. The other one specified the amount of bookable hours for planner. Not at the moment. This is an interesting one as well. So we've now got a few concepts in GreatSoft. So in GreatSoft, we now got the actual hours coming from the timesheet. We've now got the planned hours coming from the planner. We are busy working on a third metric, if we want to call it that, which is the targeted hours. So we now want to introduce targets. So you can set employee targets. In this case, for the question, you might want to set your manager targets to be able to set how many hours they should be charging per day. And that would obviously then drive your targets. So that would give you these three metrics of what did I target them to bill, what have I got them currently planned to bill, and what have they actually billed or charged. So again, on a roadmap to bring in those targets, and that will open up this very, very neat metric for all of this information together. All right. Whew, okay, I feel like I might be losing my voice soon. That is all the questions. Lee, is that it? Are we wrapped up? Anyone else got anything? All right, I think we can call it a day. We were back to my slides, sorry. All right, so that was the demo. We've already done the questions. I'm a little bit behind on my slides, excuse me. Like I did say, first webinar, so quite exciting for me. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for everyone that stayed on, listened to all the questions. It was very insightful. There was some other questions. I was expecting some more to come up. Things like bulk updating of data is #1 question as well. So I'm going to pose my own question. We also got roadmap items for doing bulk updating of data. So staff leaves or possibly falls ill, takes long absence. You need to swap these kind of things out. So we do have a lot more features we do want to bring in. Capacity kind of views. We want to be able to see staff capacity. I think that kind of falls in line with the questions we're being asked. You know, I have X person that can only work X amount of hours. How do I manage that? So that is another aspect we are going to bring in. The idea was to use lanes. So like we had the lanes for the statuses of the jobs, we're actually going to have lanes for the staff. So each staff gets their own lane in terms of what work they've got. And that then allows us to manage their capacity and their current planned hours and sort of see who's exceeding capacity and manage that. All right. So there's a lot of good things coming for Planner. That's why I say you will see it change quite drastically going forward as well. And definitely from your guys' feedback. So we do hold our clients' feedback, you know, quite high. That is who we're making the software for. So your feedback is always the most important. So if you've got anything, hit us up, info@GreatSoft, or alternatively, you can email me directly as well. If I do get an influx of emails, I might not be that quick. So, you know, chat to your account managers, chat to our info, check our website out. We have got a new planner page there with a little bit of information, and you can always drop your contact details there as well for us to get back to you. All right. Thank you, everyone. I think we've got a survey at the moment. Lee, if you'll just maybe run the survey for the guys, just let them fill in the last couple of details. And yes, thank you for coming.